We're going to keep it going, though, and I will cut off the episode here. So if you have anything you really wanted to say about Warren, now's your time to do it. And,
Oh, gosh.
it
She's
won't
a
be on that
fucking
part
bitch.
of the episode. So,
Yeah, this was really lovely. I'll spare Elizabeth Warren for now. Hopefully, everybody just call her office, and leave a message telling her to quit it. But yeah, this was really lovely. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
yeah, thanks guys for coming. You're welcome to stick around. And actually, I did, since we do have, a couple of devs up here, maybe this wasn't going to be the first topic, but I actually had, what did you guys think about the Safe Moon hack? And apparently there was an exploit with somebody exploited the updated contract that they put out. $8.9 million gone. Like, what do you guys think about these devs doing? Was there no audit? How could this happen?
Yeah, it was
Anything.
a weird one. I think it literally, to me, well, no, I'm not going to speculate, but it was like they basically made it so anybody could burn a token at anybody else's address arbitrarily. I don't know what they were thinking, but essentially someone burnt all of the SafeMoon tokens inside of their liquidity pool, and their whole thing is like, hey, every transaction builds up this liquidity pool. So someone burned a bunch of SafeMoon tokens in there, and then the liquidity pool was like, oh, it did the accounting again, and it said SafeMoon is worth way more money, like 1,000,000 times, 1,000,000,000,000 times, gazillion times more money. And then they literally just like withdrew an LP and made it out with all of the funds, just because like they had this weird function I've literally never, ever, ever seen before. So really, honestly, one for the record books as far as like pure, wackiness.
And it was going around yesterday too. I was in a space that they were talking about, and I think they talked about this before that too. There was some sort of insurance that was going to cover people. I'm like, no, actually, there's not.
Yeah.
So there was one of the, I forget what he goes by. He was in there yesterday. He used to work for SafeMoon, and he said absolutely not. That there isn't any sort of insurance that would cover, because that's not even where they had everything sitting. So yeah, that's pretty sad that was going around.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, what is that? Are there actual insurances that cover like, upgradable contract LPs? I don't know if that is.
No. I mean, individual users can get insurance, quote unquote, but it's like not even really underwritten, because you can't really underwrite DeFi. Like insurance for DeFi won't exist probably for quite some time. So like there are protocols like InsureAce. We work with them where users can like, hey, we'll give you insurance up to X amount of assets. But really that's like an insurance startup who's okay losing some money for market share. It's not like an actual, there isn't infrastructure or even the math to calculate how to insure someone or to do anything like that. That's one of like the big white whales of crypto and quantitative analysis right now, is figuring out how the heck we can actually underwrite it. It's like, you thought underwriting a house was hard or a mortgage. We've got probably 100 PhD mathematicians trying to figure out how to underwrite DeFi.
We're just trying to figure out how to write DeFi. We don't need to try to figure out how to write DeFi. Marie has had her hand up very patiently. What's up, Marie?
Oh, hey, thank you so much. My two favorite topics, crypto and coffee. So thanks, Jess and Tammy, for hosting. So I'm kind of new to the Twitter space, so forgive me. I'm going to try to ask a live question scenario. So let's say I am a realtor with a big company like Berkshire, but let's say I have a friend that has some land that, they want to sell to me. So, like you want to break off of the, Berkshire Hathaway, people become their own little boutique broker. As a small retail, I assume you're trying to go after the big dogs too, like get Berkshires and the Zillows or whatever. But as a person like myself, how would this platform help me? Let's say do I buy this property? Let's say it's 10 acres and I want to split it, 1 acre. Does that become an NFT and then I can sell it? Or is it something that you can help me finance separately with myself as the buyer and my friend as the seller, if that makes sense?
I just got so fucking lost in the weeds. I don't know if I'm supposed to be buying or selling land. Beavis.
I understood the question here. She's figuring out how she can go up against Berkshire using the power of DeFi lending.
Correct.
So, I mean, I would say where the tech is at right now, to make it trustless, to make it secure, to make it permissionless, you can't really do unsecured lending without having like a very, like every step of the way needs to be smart contract infrastructure. So what you're describing right now would require you to have enough crypto assets to deposit as collateral to actually take out the loan and finance. So I guess the benefit there would be, hey, you're a Bitcoin whale, you don't want to take a tax hit on your Bitcoin, or you don't want to sell your Bitcoin, but you want to buy all these properties, you can do that through Granary. Now, in the future, so kind of where things are headed, we will see probably in the next 18 months, real like deeds to houses or real like legal infrastructure backing NFTs on chain, which is really cool. And once we have something like that, I think, using it as collateral in Granary would be cool because, you can take that NFT or you can take a bundle of those NFTs and tokenize a fully on-chain REIT. And now we're getting kind of in the weeds, so I'll take a step back here. But what we can do when these actual properties are on chain, and of course, this would require, a relationship with a management company. This would require, some legal infrastructure off chain. But we can actually issue an unsecured loan or a mortgage or similar by holding the house in escrow and having you pay that escrow smart contract. So I bet that sounds really familiar. That's basically how home buying happens now. But when you see like, decentralized leverage, perps, things that allow you to do this, or to have these unsecured loans or these highly magnified loans, the way they do that is by holding the actual financial position as collateral while you're using it.
Right.
So that would totally be able to happen, and we'll probably see that in the next couple of years.
Beautiful. No, that's exactly that's where I was going. That was my question, and you answered it. So yes, that's great.
Hey Marie, I also wanted to just add, I put up a space that I did last year at the end of November with Origin Protocol. They're actually working with Roofstock. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They have a Web3 division, which is called Roofstock on Chain. And they did sell a rental property through an NFT using DeFi as to pay for the NFT purchase. So if you want to learn more about them, that's like one project that I know that they're already working with a Web2 real estate company and kind of trying to work on that integration.
Okay, great. Perfect. Yeah, I missed the beginning of your space, so I'm going to go back and listen to this recording as well.
Yeah,
so,
and then I pinned up to the top that other one that we specifically talk about NFTs and real estate and what they did with that first purchase, which did make some buzz in Web3.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Marie.
Awesome
No problem.
question.
Also, Jacob has his hand up, but we also have Pog up here. And
Go to Jacob first, though.
What the fuck? That's crazy. What's up, Jacob?
Hey, what's up? What's up? I just want to say hi to everyone real quick. Pog, you got pretty Pog energy. Flu, you are my grain paw, the best grain paw any grain son could ever ask for. And Beebus, you are now the grain brain of granary, self-diagnosed right now.
I
Love
haven't
you
read
so
that
much.
book, but I've heard a lot about it.
And Jess, I just want to say thank you for hosting this space. I'm super excited for your next one coming up too. I'm going to be in there listening in from work. And yeah, I just wanted to ask, is it all right if I pin something up at the top?
It depends. DM me. And what are you pinning?
Okay, I'm gonna DM you,
Is it
and then
granary related or something else?
it's crypto related, and it's
Yeah, DM
using the
me. DM me.
power of memes to
The
be
way
able
Oh
your
to
yeah,
voice
do.
yeah.
just changed, it
As
sounds
long
like you
as
might
it's
not want to
not.
post it.
I'm sorry. As long as it's not like a project. If it's just memes, you can post it. Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's using the power of memes to kind of fight against the narrative of central bank, the CBDCs.
Oh, I love that. And speaking of that, I did something stupid and I just put like a clown face over Elizabeth Warren's little poster, and DeFi Daniel got it inscribed on Bitcoin. So I am officially a Bitcoin artist. Don't at me unless you got work inscribed on Bitcoin. That's all I got to say. So shout out to DeFi Daniel for my memes will forever be on Bitcoin. I did put that link on the top. But yeah, we
Just,
do have. Go ahead, Flu.
did you know that Johnny, like Hodl of Future Johnny, I used to mess with him all the time about having like a real person PFP. So he went and he inscribed his real person PFP as an ordinal, and now I can never fuck with him about it ever, ever, ever again.
Yeah, he's a moonbird now, but he got the bootleg moonbird on Bitcoin.
Bitcoin bird. It's a Bitcoin bird.
But
The
yeah, we do have Pog up here. What's up, Pog? Flu. I think you were surprised to see them up there. Are you a Pog enthusiast?
I was, but I'm also not as much of an enthusiast for a fucking .049 mint price. Have you learned nothing from fucking National Lampoon and Porsche and all the other ones?
Bro, we minted at like $70 on Solana, and like the top pog went for like 4 Gs. Like we're doing all right.
That's a fucking bull market, bro. When was this? When was it?
This was like right as FTX was crashing.
Oh yeah, don't at me, bro. It's fine. Also,
That was
it's
the
Solana. It's Solana. You haven't even been able to access the fucking NFT since then. The chain hasn't worked since then.
Bro, we're gonna have fun. You're gonna beast. That's hilarious, dude. If you're not a Solana maxi, then jump on the ETH mint. We've got like 9,000 people waiting to mint, so hopefully we'll be all right. But it's only a 444 collection, so like we're not trying to go crazy.
No
I have no
problem.
idea what you guys just said.
Beebus. Okay, so Pog Beebus is like master of DeFi, right? But he's never messed with NFTs, like really ever. So he bought a Moonburb because he was like, "Oh, the price is going down a lot. It's finally a good time to enter." And I love the Moonbird art. And he didn't realize why the price was going down. And I was like, "Oh, it's like the day that he had done it, I was like, okay, that was probably not. I had shilled to him like Pudgy Penguins at like 1.5, 1.7. I had shilled to him like Utes, like whenever it was minting. I shilled to like I shilled to him all these other things. I shilled to him some really good stuff like at lows. It was like Jess said in the beginning of the space. It's like people take my advice a little bit too late, but yeah.
And you told me about Pudgy's, like, yeah, like at point one. I was like, what the hell is this damn Pudgy penguin?
See, I didn't identify with any of those other ones, but I kind of look like this moonbird a little, which is why I bought it.
You look exactly like that Moonbird, so I'm not gonna knock that. And Beavis is one of those people that's like he's like I'm not gonna buy floor, right? I'm gonna buy vibes, and that's always cool. That's always cool. I love it. I love it.
Go ahead, Pog.
Oh, I don't know. I just came up to hang out. I saw you guys in the space over the Nifty, so I wanted to come through and say what's good and just kind of catch the vibe.
All right, we vibing. What's up, Terrible?
Hey, GM. I just want to say, like, I'm a decentralized maxi, so I love the decentralized burn that SafeMoon integrated into their protocol. I thought that was interesting to watch. And then, like, with the Elizabeth Warren thing, I'm mixed on it because I'm a Democrat. Like, on one side, I think it's, like, ridiculous that she wants a CBDC but is against cryptocurrency because that is cryptocurrency if it's cryptographically secured. But the other side is, like, we don't know what she's seeing about the, like, all the stuff going on behind the scenes, like, as far as, like, Binance and things of that nature. So it might be, like, an easy win for her, especially, like, do we really care what one person in one state says about a global economy? Like, why is it such a stressor on the whole space?
We do if that person has a massive platform.
Yeah, I think if it was an isolated voice, it wouldn't be that much of an issue. But there's a sense of, you heard about Operation Choke Point 2.0, where all the three-letter agencies seem to be coordinating at the same time to paint the picture that the crypto industry is just scams and FUD. So she's just adding oil to the fire, right? And so it's not a good look, right? Like, we already have enough FUD around us that her adding that pressure and this anti-crypto campaign just to be like unnecessary.
So Operation Choke Point though isn't just for crypto. That's the thing about the whole thing. Like, they're just trying to choke everything out right now. And so Elizabeth Warren specifically is looking for the popularity contest with the whole crypto thing. If that's what I think is happening here.
But if it's about a campaign, it's isolated to her jurisdiction and all the statistics. So unless we know the Venn diagram of, like, how her state feels about crypto, we can't really make that claim. And we're just making it a national story. And it's like how everybody, like, had Trump up on CNN 24/7 before he was elected as president. You just basically are creating that platform and giving a voice to the opposite narrative.
All right, but the reason why I even think about it this way is because not all Democrats are against crypto. Some of them are actually very pro-crypto. So the whole thing with Elizabeth Warren, every single time she finds something to try and gain popularity, she runs for it. Like, do you remember her presidential campaign? Like, she's just a joke at this point. I don't know what to even say about her.
Go ahead, Pog.
I agree 100%, but like, you got to know her whole constituency is Massachusetts, right? So it's like old money tied up in like banking, definitely tied up in stocks. Like, this is not like a tech centric state. So, like, the people that are on her side or funding her campaign are the people who, like, vacation in the Hamptons and have, like, apartments on, like, fucking in Manhattan, and then they just have their residency in Massachusetts, that kind of thing. So they're old money out there, and they don't want to see the changing of the guard happen.
Completely agree. Go ahead, Jacob. Jacob, you there?
What the fuck, dude?
Sorry. Give me 1 sec.
Oh my god, dude! No, he's working. Also, Pog, I'm reading up because I'm trying to understand y'all's ecosystem, and it says in this infographic, it says only 20 million coins will be created for the Pog ecosystem, but then it says underneath it says Pog withholds the right to increase for interoperability or stability. What the fuck, bro?
Bro, that's our cryptocurrency, our utility token. You have to have an inflationary coin, or else it's considered a security. So the fact we have to maintain the right to release more coins if we ever have to, and that reduces the liability and, like, the risk to regulation.
Great answer. We'll go to Wolf, and then we'll go to Jacob, and then we'll keep it going to the next topic. Wolf, what's going on?
Hi, Jess. Happy Friday, everyone, and thanks so much for having me out. Hope everyone is having a great weekend so far. I just had a question to Pog while we are so lucky to have him here. Are you guys planning to recreate the original game from before that you can play in the metaverse and things like that, or at least on?
Yeah, absolutely. We're bringing the physicals back in the early next year, but we're dropping the Solana game on chain in the next 3 days. It'll be out. The whole idea was to release the Solana on chain game so people could play for keeps on Solana as we're minting on ETH, and then we'll transition the game and the other games we have in development over to ETH too. But yeah, we're really trying to it'll be the Stack and Slam traditional game. You'll wager anywhere between $100 to $500, $10,000 in Pogs, and play for keeps against your friends and against the treasury. But yeah, we also have an SDK so other developers can build with Pogs and come up with new games to play.
That's super cool. That's super cool.
Yeah, that's
Thanks,
cool.
Wolf, for asking that. All right. All right, so we talked about Safe Moon. Let's see what else is going on. Elizabeth Warren has obviously gone wild. Not sure, you guys know I don't like talking politics too much, but obviously unless you've been hiding under a rock, Trump got indicted. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because his NFT did pump since the announcement. And I was listening to this on the Nifty show. This is one of the first examples where the price movement is actually related to a real life situation. So it's interesting to see that happening. So yeah, if you had the Trump NFT or you got in before the indictment, you are up. I think it was up 20% the last time that I saw the stat, but could be more by now. Go ahead, Nico.
This is not financial advice, but if he's found guilty, that thing is going to 100 ETH. I'm not even kidding here. It's amazing how this is happening.
Yeah, really interesting to see. But yeah, Jacob, are you back or you just have your hand up?
I'm back. I'm so sorry. I'm also at work, so I'm multitasking a lot. I just wanted to mention on the point of, us talking about everything, I'm going to read some stuff that I wrote, that money is nothing more than access to opportunity, personified. Whether it's physical or digital does not matter. The American financial and medical systems have failed us. So being anti-crypto is to be anti-decentralization, the very concept that brought about democracy. The decentralization of power is the value in which our founding fathers believed in and fought for. And now here we are generations later with a system that has failed us, and the people that are supposed to represent our best interests are actively fighting tooth and nail to stop anyone or anything from solving the issues that plague our society simply because it's a threat to the power they wield.
I completely agree with that. And I think, including myself, I live in the US and sometimes my mindset is very US centric, which is, a flaw. But at the end of the day, crypto and blockchain are going to keep on going with or without the US. So we're either going to be left behind. I'm planning my escape route. Where am I going to go? I don't know, but I'm definitely I'm not going to be shut out. We're also seeing. And I don't know if maybe anybody can clarify this, whether it was a rumor or actually true, because I heard both, that it might be just taken out of context. But there was rumors about this VPN ban and things like that. Did anybody hear about that?
You can't really ban VPNs.
Yeah, you can't ban them.
Well, it's part of the Restrict Act. It's
You're
built into there, but there's a whole much more in there. We're technically an entity, this chat group right now, so we might qualify under this Restrict Act, especially if there's somebody from a different nation in here. We qualify as an entity, so we may all be under investigation if they assume that somebody's doing something illegal. And
So are you on the boat with
guys, you guys have 3 mics off, and Tammy wanted to speak. Go ahead, Tammy.
I'm sorry, just really fast. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I was just going to say, if you haven't taken the time to read about what Jess just brought up, you definitely need to look at it, because they're talking fines, jail time, they're not messing around with that. And I think it's kind of scary.
All right, go ahead. Who went? Flew. I saw you and Mike. Go ahead.
I was just saying they can't really ban VPNs. It's something that like it's one of those things. It's just unenforceable, and so like it's gonna get caught up immediately. Like there's a bunch of nonprofit organizations. There's the Digital Freedom Foundation, like Electronic Freedom Foundation. That's it. EFF. They'll fight tooth and nail for it. They'll put it up into everything like that dude, if that pops off, like EFF is gonna have a fucking field day, and they have a bunch of really big backers. They have a lot of money, they have a lot of time, and yeah, it's gonna be a really hard road to try to ban VPNs.
Are you taking a shower?
No, my wife is doing dishes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. No, yeah, I totally agree with you. And we're seeing it just not like from that VPN thing. There was a report today that Italy wants to ban Chat GPT. Like they want to ban everything at this point. Like, what are we going to do? Go ahead and let's go to Emotion, who's new, and then we'll circle back to the rest of the hands. Welcome. And JD's here too. Good morning, JD.
New? What are you talking about? So, just a quick point. So we've been fighting against this kind of nonsense since like the early 2000s. We had SOPA and PIPA and all this other stuff, and just activist grassroots campaign to spread knowledge and awareness about these topics are extremely necessary because the majority of the public has zero understanding of any of this stuff, and it literally does not matter to them in the slightest. So when you're talking about banning VPN, I guarantee you most people don't even know what VPN is, let alone like that it's being banned or even care about it. And on top of that, let's also not forget that the LAN cables connecting the United States to the rest of the world infrastructure, internet-wise, is directly tampered with and owned by the United States, whatever Department of Defense and anything. We all know about the closets in San Francisco that lead out to the ocean. We know about the stuff in New York City that does the same thing in New Jersey. So, technically, if somebody could ban or wanted to ban VPN and there was no opposition, they 100% could cut off those protocols at the land cable level. So let's not disregard those kind of points. So everybody needs to kind of get back behind EFF and fight along if you can.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, we've already seen in some cases where the UI, has been blocked for U.S. Citizens, like for example, the ape staking and things like that. And now they want to come after VPNs and things like that. So just finding ways to make it more and more difficult. Let's see who is next. Let's Terrible, and then Nico, and then Flu, and then JD.
Thanks. It's not actually trying to ban VPNs. It's trying to make the using of it a crime. So like you can commit a crime using a VPN right now, but they actually want to make using a VPN to access information or anything else on a banned site a crime, which opens you up into a whole bunch of different lines of investigation, which if you look in that bill is not very restrictive because this is kind of an extension of the Patriot Act. It's basically like you really need to read it and go over it with a fine-tooth comb because I don't know what it doesn't open up to, like citizens being investigated as they want and choose.
Yeah, and let's not forget that the Patriot Act is one of the most ridiculous things that have been pulled over the American people ever. I mean, the entire process from right before 9/11 all the way to now is just more and more absurd.
Great points, guys. Go ahead, Nico.
So, yeah, the way you're making it sound is that they're going to just start rounding everybody up. Like, I don't see this happening. Like, that just by having these conversations.
Flu, what's up? You got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like that Sony and the Priest brought up a really valid point in the comments, which is that VPNs are used for remote work, and so like yeah, that's a really good point. Also, I don't think a lot of people understand just how common VPNs are or how like widespread the technology is in like completely boring ways. Like there's every single here's a really good example for big money. At every single oil and gas site, every single one, right? There's remote management of all of the instrumentation and the other tech that's there. Even though it's relatively low grade tech, there's like computers that are used to manage most of it. The networks that those are on are all by requirement. They all need VPNs to be able to access offsite, and they all need to be able to be managed offsite because there's thousands of them and thousands of the sites just in like the Permian Basin alone, right? And so there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. But the thing that TF was saying makes a lot more sense is that it's not being banned. What's actually being banned is accessing of certain websites on the thing. And which is funny about that because like how would they know? You know? And so like that gets into a scarier conversation of how they would actually be tracking that sort of stuff. But it's not it's there's a lot to this that just doesn't make a lot of sense. It just reeks of politicians talking about shit that they don't fucking know anything about.
Completely agree. And JD, I do see that you came up. Welcome and good morning. Any thoughts about a potential VPN ban? Elizabeth Warren gone rogue? What's going on?
Hey, sorry, was that at me, Jess?
Yes, that was at you. What's up, JD?
Oh, I'm on a phone call, but yeah, the Elizabeth Warren Army thing is really annoying. I just think that's anti-innovation and is a pretty dark path to go down. Nothing in America during the internet has been built off of a hate for innovation. It's been built off responsible innovation, and it's kind of insulting, to be honest with you. I don't think she's going to win. If you look at Coinbase, they have in their app now a entire like section around political leaders and their friendliness spectrum to crypto, and even a direct donation button. So we're seeing Coinbase be extremely active in helping users direct their donations and political support to candidates that are pro crypto. And I think a generation just doesn't like the anti-crypto army. That's just a stupid platform to run on and doesn't make any sense. It's not, we shouldn't have the mindset always of like, this shouldn't exist. It should be like, how can this exist in a way that is safe? So yeah, that's my vibe. And I forgot the other question you had there, but
Oh, no worries. I know everybody's multitasking, so I forgot too. But what I was gonna say that, with all the FUD in the US, one thing that I have noticed is that there's been a lot of recent announcements about Hong Kong and how they're becoming like more crypto friendly now. So if the US doesn't step up to the plate, and if we're gonna be anti-crypto, somebody else is gonna step up to the plate and swoop in and take this opportunity, in my personal opinion. But go ahead, Pog.
I think, yeah, that last comment about VPNs being super used is absolutely accurate. Like everybody, when I was at Google and Unity and everywhere in between, we used VPNs for like remote work. Everybody logged into a VPN, and it creates tremendous security for these major corporations. I think they are absolutely missing the boat.
Completely agree. And yeah, hopefully go ahead, Dal. Go ahead.
Yeah, on what you said about Hong Kong, what I think is interesting there is that right when there seemed to be a pressure on American banks to remove services to crypto companies, we have Chinese state banks, right? Not just commercial banks, but state banks traveling to Hong Kong to show them the list of services they would provide to crypto companies. So it's not just Hong Kong by itself, it's also apparently the Chinese government saying, for our local people, no, you don't have access to crypto. But for high net worth people in Hong Kong, and potentially to bring more innovators and builders in crypto, they're ready to actually onboard them. So it's an interesting, maybe geopolitical shift in their strategy.
What's the situation with Hong Kong nowadays? Is China still trying to take it over?
I think they did take it over pretty much, bro.
Well, I mean, like, I kind of remember, what was it, last year or 2 years ago, the insane protests in Hong Kong where they were like
Yeah,
beating people in the streets and stuff. Like, but
That was what I wanted to
that was
comment on.
because
It is still a provenance of China, and China has the opportunity to seize any Hong Kong company at any point they want to. So as Hong Kong becomes more crypto-centric, the opportunity for China to reach their hand into any company in Hong Kong is available. So there's the back door.
yeah, so
Interesting. Interesting.
the politicians in Hong Kong pretty much gave everything to China as like a backdoor, pretty much. Like that's why they
Yes.
were beating each other up and doing all of that stuff. And a lot of people over there, a lot of companies, a lot of banks, all that stuff, the entire banking system is turned over to China.
So it's almost like China can use cryptocurrency as a way to dump US dollars into the market and flood it, almost like an attack vector.
Hey, kinda, but you know what though? It's gonna cause a short-term demand on the dollar. Like people aren't seeing this properly. It's kind of weird what's gonna happen.
No, I think that's why they did the thing with Brazil that they did. China and Brazil is that's why they're doing that, is to increase the usage of their own currency so they can go with the digital yuan. And so that's like, and it's like it is an attack vector. I think that terrible father may be a terrible father, but that's probably pretty good analysis.
Yeah, I think those are all great points all around. But yeah, let's not. I do want to move on from the doomsday because, like I said, at the end of the day, all this FUD, like crypto and blockchain, is just going to keep going, and whether we're going to be left out or not, we'll have to see. So, like, it doesn't affect some people here. Dal, you don't live in the U.S. You're just probably laughing at us. Like, look at these people.
I wish. I'm a U.S. citizen. I could be living on Mars and still have to pay my taxes. So it's cool. I live in Colombia, and I'm sure we're going to touch on that. So Brazil and Colombia have a service from Binance where you can actually have a prepaid credit card, and you can use that for everyday transaction. For now, let's see what happens in the future.
Yeah, great point. But yeah, a lot of things did happen this week on the bright side. Polygon zkEVM did go live, and Vitalik was the first one to perform the first transaction, which was cool to see. But it was funny because he was trying to do a message in the transaction and he couldn't figure it out. I clipped the video, I'll pin it up, but he was like, I went on Chat GPT and asked them how to do it, and it told me to click this and I don't see that button. So I guess the point is that Vitalik is just like us. He goes on Chat GPT and gets bad results and is still trying to figure
and hangs
it
out
out.
with Giselle Bundchen, just like the rest of us, you know?
Oh my God, that was such a rumor. Go ahead, JD.
Yeah, sorry, I wanted to wrap up that regulatory kind of commentary. In Canada, actually, we had issued the first 4 ETFs that were spot Bitcoin ETFs. Galaxy Digital did that with CI Financial about 3 years ago. So in 2020, I think it was, we had ETFs for ETH, Bitcoin, and I think a couple even other altcoins or maybe a metaverse basket was tradable. And then even years before that, in 2013, we had a traded fund done by Fred Pye at I'm trying to remember the name of the company, but it was a closed-end fund, I believe, for trading Bitcoin and ETH exposure. And I think it's just in other jurisdictions, like in Ontario, there's been a lot of crypto-friendly rules, but it hasn't been like the fear rules. It's been like, hey, if you register your exchange, you can operate, and we aren't going to shut you down. We aren't going to shut your banking connections down. And the other ones that they had done recently in Canada is limit the net amount users can buy and purchase. So I think it's something like 10 grand a month or something like that is the max a retail user can purchase. And every time you log into a Canadian crypto exchange, they actually go through a accredited investor test with each user. So they ask like what your net assets are, what your assets minus your mortgage and other liabilities, and they want to know, do you fit the accredited investor profile, which for those that don't know, it's $1 million liquid assets, $5 million in total assets, and then I think 250K in household income. So I might be slightly off there, but that's the rough framework for an accredited investor. And so those are kind of the steps in Canada that the regulators in Ontario and across Canada have actually implemented, but they've never said, hey, we're going to kill the industry. Like in the US, it seems almost like it's the opposite of like, we're going to regulate the industry out of existence. It causes this fear and distortion in the market. It's manipulating the market, and rather than putting actual policy in place. In Canada, we actually have policy in place now that allows this industry to legally operate. I may not agree with it at times, but at the same time, at least it doesn't create fear and uncertainty in the market.
Completely agree with that. And I know Gensler spoke this week. He was in a hearing for the budget, and he's asking for more money to increase the size of his team. But a lot of the senators were asking him, like, you haven't came up with any regulations around cryptocurrency. Like, it's just regulation by enforcement. And, you know, we've seen that with Kraken. We've seen that Gemini just announced that they're going to go overseas and try to do a derivatives exchange. Like, these companies are just going to pick up and leave or try different markets if the U.S. is not willing to play games. And I totally agree with it, JD, with what you said. Sorry. Go ahead, Nico. Oh, go ahead, JD, and then Nico.
Yeah, sorry, one last part of that. When Coinbase filed their S1 to go public, they described their entire business model in that filing with the SEC. And one of the arguments I saw, and I don't know if this would stick, but if Gensler sues Coinbase now and the stock performs poorly, do the shareholders have a case against the SEC where they, because they had told the SEC that this is our business model, right? And so, why do you sue us for a business model that you already approved 2 years ago is kind of the sticking point, but we'll see.
There's actually some arguments on that side too about how long that some of these guys have been in operation and the what do you call it, the restriction of how long you can go after someone. The
reasonable Jeez, I don't know. I can't think of it there. I know what you're talking about.
Statute of limitations. There you go.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And so, like, certain crypto businesses have been in operation in the United States for such a long time now that they're actually running up against the edges of that. So, they're running out of time in order to do anything real. And so the more that they can piss around and shit on each other's desks and stuff like that, or whatever else sort of bullshit is going on there. Yeah, thank you, Priest. Priest messaged me. Priest has this running commentary in my DMs where he just uses me as ways to say things on stage, which is, I guess, cool. But thanks, Priest. He said that he was screaming at me statute of limitations. So thanks, buddy. I can't.
That's why I came up. Statute of limitations.
Thank you, Active RN. Thank you.
People will come up quick to correct you, so do not worry. No, thanks for clarifying that. We definitely don't want to give away misinformation. So thanks again. But yeah, so we talked about, we'll see what happens. Gensler wants more money. He's a fucking clown, whatever. But yeah, going back to Polygon zkEVM, has anybody tried it? Has anybody used the zkEVM network?
Likely has.
I just want to talk about that.
And what's the difference between that and what it was doing too? If somebody could explain that.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried it a little bit. It's more expensive, but I would say a lot more performant than the POS chain.
Wait,
Uh,
what? How is it more expensive? I'm so confused now.
because the gas is ETH, and it's an L2, so you're getting way better security, way better reliability. I don't think it'll invalidate the POS chain. I think that'll still be a great place for NFTs, but they're trying to make something more for DeFi, I feel like, in the zkEVM chain. And then there are some privacy and security benefits beyond that, but
Do you still have to
we're
bridge and all
waiting
that? You still
for.
have to do bridging and whatnot?
Yeah, it's kind of, we're waiting for more infrastructure before we really move there with some of our apps. And there's not really much going on quite yet. But yeah, it's like moving from Ethereum to Optimism, for example, or even moving from Ethereum to Polygon POS. It'll be a relatively similar experience.
But wait, that don't make sense to me, right? You're saying the transactions are more expensive. In theory, they're supposed to be like sub pennies, like not even a tenth of a penny. Is there an
On
issue that's
zkEVM?
yeah? Is there an issue with the transaction as it is, or you're
No,
saying that it could be a
maybe
permanent thing?
maybe it's because there's not a lot of demand for block space yet because it's brand new. So it might be fairly low now, but from what I've read, like a lot of their documentation, and it's looking like it'll be about as expensive as like Optimism or Arbitrum, where Polygon is like almost costless right now. zkEVM will have a little more cost associated. It's not going to be like Ethereum level expensive, but it's kind of like a security trade-off.
I remember we're comparing it to
With
Polygon, which is like super fucking cheap. It just doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very interesting. I know I'm going to probably start some stuff up, but there was that drama going on between the bankless ETH maxis, and they made the bankless guy delete his tweet. CoinDesk did a correction on an article where they stated that Polygon was faster and cheaper than Solana, so they retracted that. So yeah, it was.
No, they did not fucking retract it correctly. Okay, can I just say that they said, "Oh, they're relatively equal" in their correction, which they're not at all.
Their zkEVM chain?
Wait, say that again?
Are you talking about their zkEVM chain or their
I don't know.
POS?
The bankless
regular
maxi guy
Polygon.
was going off on a tangent
Wait,
about Solana and ended up deleting his tweet afterwards.
let's hear it from emotion. Maybe he has some information on ZKs. What's your take on that?
Well, so everybody's excited about the Polygon zkEVM, but let's not remember that there's multiple zkEVMs in the works, and the ultimate goal of the zkEVM is to mirror the mainnet so that you shouldn't have any idea that you're transacting in any kind of way other than just being on Ethereum, right? And scaling upwards. So there's plenty of players in this space, and they're going to be coming up this year. And this year is going to be the layer 2s and 3s. So just give it some time. This is all brand new, and ultimately we're trying to achieve the same goal in scaling Ethereum.
Can I just say that if they don't fix the bridging issue, like having to not bridge, I don't see it like it's changing too much. You know what I mean? The onboarding and the mass adoption.
So
because that's
and all of these things will come with time. Like right now, like if you look at players like in the different in the types of zkEVM, the type 4, there's a player called Tycho. They're mirroring level 1 with the Ethereum Foundation's help. So they're literally like all the other chains will be able to transact through Tycho, and it's kind of acting as its own bridge layer between every single other ZK chain. So projects like that are super awesome, and everybody else can kind of take from this technology and make their stuff better, because zkEVMs are ultimately just extending Ethereum.
Go ahead, John. Then we'll go to smoking.
And real quick, the issue on bridge, this is probably like a nerd topic, but it's probably going to get resolved by something like eigenlayer and restaking. Because to your point, there's a lot of things that we use that have a lower security model than Ethereum, like the oracles, bridges, and other infrastructure. And the ability for you to reuse the existing Ethereum network and the security, that's going to be a massive, massive value proposition for any other services outside of running transactions. So yeah, it's still new. I don't think a lot of people are really paying attention to it, but EigenLayer is going to probably be the solution for a lot of those issues that we have when you go outside of just running transactions.
Great
Yeah,
point.
that's good.
Smoking, what's going on? Welcome.
Hey, Jess, give me like 2 minutes. I'm dropping my baby girl off at school. I'll be right back.
Y'all gotta come up better prepared. No problem. Walk her to school, and we'll be here for a few more minutes. So yeah. But yeah, that was good to see. So Polygon zkEVM is live. We'll see what happens with that. What else happened this week? I'm just going through my notes here. Yeah, if DeGods are moving to Ethereum today, the Utes migrated to Polygon earlier this week. I heard Frank speaking in a space, and he mentioned that around 11,000 of the Utes had already been migrated. So that's pretty big for that many people to have already migrated their Utes. Flu, are you a Ute holder? Did you migrate?
I sold. I was fucking annoyed. I was fucking annoyed at how long it was taking to do the fucking migration. I was annoyed. I know that it doesn't take that goddamn long. Because it doesn't take that goddamn long to fucking bridge something. Also, Beavis does have to run. Beavis, shout out.
Yeah, I'm late to a meeting, but I don't do Twitter Spaces often, so I didn't know what was polite. But thank you all for your time, and this was really a good conversation.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for coming. But yeah, the Twitter Space etiquette is this is not an airport. You do not. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Do not. I was going to say you do not need to announce your departure. No, I'm kidding. Thanks for
Okay,
coming.
thank you. Bye.
Jess, no, I was annoyed. Honestly, I actually I met Frank recently. Frank and I are friendly. I told him in person. I was like, for the longest time, I was fucking around and I was like, flexing the fact that he wrote my name down like day one on Mint of like possible biz dev people because I was like one of the only biz dev people that other people brought up in during that. And so I would go around and be like, oh yeah, Frank loves me. He put my name on the working document. And he, like, I told him all this and he was like, let's go, like, and he's like, I love that. I love that fucking hustle, like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I've been working in the space a long time, guy. Anyway, so he tried the headphones. He tried the Solana headphones. He tried he likes them, but then he didn't answer my DMs anyway. So I don't know. I just that dude's way too slammed. He's like me. He tries to keep himself approachable, and it really becomes an issue of like he's missing out on some of the more important things that are being told to him. So. I don't know.
I've DM'd him. Let's see if he comes over. But go ahead, Dow, and then we'll welcome Brooke.
Jess, I'm gonna let you finish, but I think CZ had the biggest week of all time, so we gotta talk about CZ. I know it's your best friend, it's your BFF, but we gotta talk about CZ.
So obviously the CFTC filed a lawsuit against Binance and CZ. So what is everybody's thoughts about that? FUD or not? So I'll give my opinion. Obviously, my take is base, so take that with a grain of salt. But one thing that I do see is that a lot of the allegations are from 2019. If you look at Frank Chaparro from The Block, he reported this back in 2019. So a lot of old recycled FUD that's trying to come back. Did Binance maybe have, KYC issues in the past where people were able to sign up without it? Probably. Try today and tell me what happens. As a U.S. citizen, you cannot sign up on Binance, or as an international person, you cannot sign up on Binance U.S. The KYC process is extremely rigorous. What else did I want to chime in on? I think that's it. I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
Do we know if
Dow, I'll let
Oh,
you
so
chime
go
in.
ahead.
Oh, go
No,
ahead,
I was just gonna say,
Activate,
do we
or
know if people who were able to KYC prior to, whatever they were claiming, people did they have to go back and KYC? Like what?
I don't know all the details about that, and
My friend
and
who's
This
yeah, and I mean, obviously, Binance is the biggest player, so of course they're going to go after them.
the
And some of the I was in a TradFi space yesterday. The guy starts off with, "I know nothing about crypto, but Binance is X, X, and X," and it's like, okay, and they were started talking about money laundering, how Binance was supporting, all these terrorist organizations. If you look at the stats in between traditional banks and crypto, and where the money laundering happens is definitely in traditional banking. And banks get fined all the time for money laundering stuff. And with that, my rant is over. I'm sorry.
Okay. So this is not about the KYC process. This is about the people using a VPN in the United States and Binance having a non KYC exchange. And Binance's argument is that they're the most rigorous KYC process and that they tried their best to ban US citizens and all that. And they are correct. They are pretty much one of the biggest ones and all that stuff. The problem is that the CFTC is going after them in such a way where they're literally trying to like throw them out of the country altogether. You know what? Crypto Hodler is up here. Hodler's up here. He knows better than I do.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, because you're saying that it's not about this, it's not about that. There's like 36 different things in there. So it's like a mixture of everything. But yeah, I'd love to hear from Hodler and see what his thoughts are.
Hodler, that's your cue. Go once.
All right, now we're gonna move it on
I can go.
I'm really
Just
sorry.
letting
Every time I went to talk, I heard all this background music, and I realized there was an ad, a Twitter ad was playing because I was kind of toggling in the feed as well as listening. I just had a sort of a side comment on the Binance thing. So the CFTC is a 4-letter agency. I know we talk about the 3-letter. We kind of joke about 3-letter agencies. They're really the same thing. They're down the street from all the other ones. So remember, their jurisdiction is based 100% on commodities. It's called the commodities, right? First letter C stands for commodities. And they're alleging, and they're asking a court to back them up, that Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum are commodities. Now, that's really interesting because while they're kind of going after, obviously, Binance, they're also sending a note to the SEC saying, hey, these 3 assets are our jurisdiction, not yours. Now, if a district court rules on that, doesn't automatically make that the law of the land, but it starts a very interesting process and discussion about the turf war between these 2 agencies. And you remember back to the Lummis-Gillibrand bipartisan bill also seeks to give CFTC jurisdiction over most things crypto as commodities. So it's a very interesting underlying thing where they're kind of using, I don't know if maybe I'm being a little overly conspiratorial, right? They might be using the attack that they're all the other agencies are doing to kind of stake their own claim on, hey, these are commodities. Now, obviously, Gensler, et cetera, could say that yield type instruments are securities based on those 3, quote, commodities. That's a different topic, but it's just an interesting aspect to this whole thing. I wanted to share that and hear what else people thought about that and talk some more about it.
Yeah, I agree. And it just shows you, and I do want to go to Brooke, who's new up here, but I just wanted to say that it just shows you like the mess or the shit show that the US is. Like they can't even figure out within themselves like what is a security and what's a
And how long
commodity.
did they have to figure this shit out?
Exactly, and it leads me, in my personal opinion, to believe that this is more political, this is more power driven, that they want to be able to control certain aspects of this financial sector. But without further ado, let's go over to Brooke. Welcome back. You are a jet setter as well, so we always appreciate you stopping by.
I
Hey,
even have
boo.
I have this on my Friday like calendar, but I'm just like I have so much going on that I'm like, oh my God, are they done yet? So leave it to me to be late at all times. And I don't have a lot to offer other than what scares me, and it has probably nothing to do with what you guys have been talking about, but in the cybersecurity world, there's a lot of sort of big players that are so turned off by Web3 and crypto that it's like it's causing more of a rift, and which I think is a huge problem, because then where's the Web3 blockchain like security push? So that's just been really disheartening. I have a PhD professor that told me that what I did was a Ponzi scheme, and there was no like conversation we could have. So, that I just listen and love you guys and learn everything I know from you. Really just soak it up. So, yes, jet setter. Meeting all the people. I feel like it's important to be out and seeing what all the kids are doing these days. But yeah, cybersecurity is just a really big, important thing to me, and studying it in grad school and all the social engineering and that type of thing, and keeping your shit safe is really important to me. And so for like the cybersecurity world at large to really think this is all just kind of a ridiculous, game we're playing, but isn't that just life?
What's your take on the VPN situation? Are they trying to block us from being able to use them or no?
I just don't think it's possible. Like, it's just not possible. It's like this TikTok thing. Like, don't get me started on that. But
You're a TikTok OG.
That's what I
How do
said.
you feel about that?
I love
mean,
her.
it's a joke. It's a fucking joke. I mean, please don't, quote me. I don't know. I'm not a politician. I don't know any of this stuff, but I read a lot, and I'm obviously, I have a very large presence on TikTok, and it's been very good to me. But it's they tried to do it last year. Like, what are they going to have 100 million, teenagers and young adults like storming the Capitol? And please don't take that the wrong way, but
they would.
They would.
Don't feed the Zoomers. Like, they will.
Like that's been a really interesting, like, sort of thought process for a lot of us, because I'm Gen X, and I didn't grow up with social media, so this was all just sort of this interesting situation that happened. Like, oh, people think I'm funny, I'm gonna go do this video content. It was fun, and then it turned into educational and all that. But if it went away tomorrow, I'm not, that's not how I pay my bills. So it would be fine. But this is a way of life for these human beings. They're younger than us, but they're humans. This is what they did. Like, what if they took Atari away from us? Oh my God, I'm so old.
You stop that.
Which is not the same thing, but
Hey,
but
Brooke.
like, it's just not going to happen. Yeah,
I had
Brooke.
ET on Atari. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I just think it's just another distraction for whatever else is going on. If you read that Restrict Act or Resist Act, whatever the hell it's called, it doesn't even say TikTok in it. Like, it's like it's just a distraction. So they think that they can ban VPNs. That's a joke. It's just a joke, and it's a distraction. So,
hey, Brooke.
Yes.
What's
I'm
up,
here.
group?
Hi.
Hey, I just wanted to say I 1000% agree with you on the TikTok thing, because you think of all the things that they don't protect us from and can't protect us from, but by God, they want to protect us from TikTok.
Exactly.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here is right.
Yeah, like, I can't. So
I can't.
I'm Gen
X. I'm
Gen X too, so I get it. We didn't have trigger warnings growing up. We didn't have like censored shit. Like, we just
Tammy, we didn't
I
even have fucking seatbelts, for Christ's sake. Like,
no, I stood next to my mom.
I stood next to my mom in the fucking car.
I slept
in the
back. I slept in the back of the
I know, like, what were seatbelts back
what
then?
were they? I don't smoking
built like
cigarettes
tanks.
in the car, blowing smoke into your kid's face. Like, what? We're fine.
Facts.
Well,
Facts.
I mean, that's remains to be seen. But
like, well, a lot of kids died, though. Let's be fucking clear, right? Like, a lot of kids died.
We did it.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
survived
in fucking like,
hey guys,
car accidents.
Nico survived, so we're all good.
That's true.
Y'all got a fucking survivorship bias, like.
But that last thing about because a lot of the cybersecurity people, sometimes I don't say it, and then it'll come up because somebody has seen a video or whatever, and they're everyone's like taken aback, like it's a cyber weapon, and I'm not downplaying that at all, because there's a lot to that. It's not the data collection. It's more of a persuasive sort of mental health, tool that adversaries are using. But there's tons of different tools that adversaries are using to sort of persuade, and there's these like micro persuasions. It's in the media. It's in, you name it. I can persuade you to do things, right? It doesn't matter whether I'm using a tool like TikTok. So yes, it's like data collection and all that, which 99% of people will just be like, they can have my data, I don't care. But that's not really like the point. The point is like being able to manipulate and move people around. But that's not just TikTok. Like that's not just
Equifax already gave them your data, so
right. Exactly. Like it's completely it's a distraction where people are like, hey, we're gonna control this. But if you go and look at that Restrict Act, it has nothing to do with TikTok. And I'll tell you what, like this whole like political thing, like I don't really get political, but the fact that like Tucker Carlson and AOC are agreeing, like,
Wait, what did they agree on?
Just the fact that it's wrong.
Oh,
like,
the TikTok thing?
I didn't really watch the whole thing, but I was told that, and then I looked it up. Like, yeah, it's just kind of like, what Twilight Zone are we in right now? And then the bill passed, not the bill, but it was a unanimous agreement in Congress. And the one person that stood up to stop the unanimous vote or whatever is Rand Paul. And man, that guy went off. And like, just speaking the truth, like, are you guys all nuts? Like, we're going to take this away from 150 million Americans? It doesn't make any sense. And I think part of it too is that, it was an uncontrollable knowledge brokering type of thing. It went from a silly dance music app to all of a sudden we're all teaching each other shit. I learned more from TikTok in the last 3 years than I ever did on the news or anything. I don't know how many of you have, maybe you don't want to admit it, but you've gone on there and you've learned some crazy ass shit. Maybe how to like bake
I gotta
bread.
get on TikTok. I am not on TikTok.
Oh, girl, you need to.
I
You
say
learn
just
so much.
you're better off.
Don't go
You
on there.
You
But
learn a lot.
let's get through some of these hands, and then we got 2 new speakers, CDJ and Priest, but great insights, Brooke. And yeah, I mean, like I can't even imagine. That's like if, the government were to say, oh, we're taking away Twitter, like I'm gonna riot. So I can imagine how you must feel about TikTok. But yeah, great points. Flu in motion, Nico, and then we'll welcome our new guest.
I was just gonna say thank you to Brooke for coming up and saying the thing about the VPNs, because like I was saying that shit earlier. It's impossible. It's impossible to ban it. It's impossible to do it, and it's like it's a technology. It's so heavily like important within our fucking tech stack for the internet to even exist at this point. So fucking stupid. It's just like people trying to regulate away shit that they have no fucking idea over. For those of you not familiar, I worked for McKesson before I worked full time in crypto, which is like Fortune 10,
Ugh,
right?
I'm shivering right now.
Yeah, like, and I was very much on the side of the empire, right? And this is like after my mother and father both died because of the opiate epidemic, so I just like had no self-awareness whatsoever. Um, I was actually extraordinarily self-aware. I just hated myself for it, but that's a different story. Yeah, no, like it's just so critical in like every single piece of our everyday lives. It's just like it's so stupid. And then TikTok, oh my god, TikTok is they. It's so dumb. It's so
Say it
dumb.
with your chest.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb, Brooke. Brooke, you and I, we started hanging out in spaces a while back, but like, holy shit, it's fucking stupid. Like, I cannot even. Also, Jess, I've been meaning to ask you this for like ever. Would you be interested in going to consensus on a certain blockchain's dime?
Of course, yeah, hit me up. And you've been meaning to ask me this forever and haven't asked me, just like you've been meaning to come on the show forever but never asked me.
I mean, like forever in the term of like today during this space, this was a convenient time to ask
Yeah,
you about
just put
the
me
thing.
on the spot. Didn't you offer
Oh
me
my
a
God,
job
Elo,
live on a space as well once?
Jess and Brooke at Consensus. I would pay for that.
Actually, Brooke,
Let's fucking go.
if you want to go, what state are you in? If you don't mind.
Well, I did that last year. I was at Consensus as a influencer.
Cool. Yeah, cool. No, if you want to go,
Fuck yeah.
I'll put you in there too. What state are you in? I know what state Jess is in, so I don't need to ask, and I also don't think that she would want
I'm
to
in
say
Idaho.
Idaho. Oh no, Idaho.
No,
Anyway,
Idaho.
no, Idaho.
No, Idaho.
All right, cool. That's fair. All
All
right, no,
right,
I'll
guys.
put your name
We
down too.
we got to get through some of these hands and motion, Nico, and then we'll welcome the new speakers.
Yeah, I like what you pointed out, Brooke, about your professor talking nonsense about this space. It's really hilarious in academia how all of these like old boomer people are just so out of touch with how all of this stuff works. Like in computer science, the shit that you learn is just a complete absurdity compared to the stuff that you learn in the real world, right? And let's also not forget that like 99% of the algorithms in the dreaded four name book are invented by four people, and pretty much everything that we do in computer science, cryptography, anything is basically because of these guys, and everything is just expounded on it. So like super cool areas like zero knowledge cryptography are going to be a game changer for cybersecurity. I mean, these things, like when they replace the username and password, the world will be a completely different space. Like this is the first thing that got me like really interested in zero knowledge stuff. It's just crazy.
Thanks, emotion. Always dropping the good alpha. Nico, go ahead.
I pinned a tweet up top. U.S. government to sell 41,500 Bitcoin. Like we were talking about that earlier, and like this is nuts, kinda.
Yeah, and it's from Silk Road. So is there some sort of like form I can fill out to get the 700 they seized when we were buying drugs? Just let me know if there's a form. Super happy I'm giving that to the government.
Yeah, the U.S. government fumbling the bag. That's fine. That's fine. Completely fine. CDJ, welcome. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You caught me on my lunch hour. I've been listening for about half an hour so far. But yeah, you got a lot of great topics, and I love how it moves all over. It's kind of like MySpaces. We start with one topic and kind of goes pretty much everywhere. But the VPNs, yeah, I agree. It'd be very difficult to eliminate those, but it's more feasible that they'll just block ports at the land on the land. So that's not really feasible. I use a VPN. Everyone that I know uses a VPN for their work. It's the only way they interact with people that they've never met before, and that's how business and commerce is happening today. In fact, there's probably half of your audience is on VPN right now, honestly. But besides that, the other thing I wanted to comment on what Crypto Holder mentioned about the commodities agency. That's actually a pretty decent precedent to be made. I love that precedent. I prefer them to be involved rather than the SEC because they're basically labeling these cryptocurrencies as commodities, and that's what I believe we all want. You know, we want to avoid the SEC being involved at all because a few people said, you know, they're looking for enforcement rather than regulation, and it's just a huge freaking cash grab for them. I mean, not only are they grabbing the cash and fines and whatnot, but then they're going to Congress to look for more money to do it. That's just simply ridiculous. So yeah, we need agencies that are commodity driven and focused to run the regulation, and we do need some regulation because if we don't have the regulation to bring it to the mainstream, it won't be mainstream. And to the points about the U.S. not being the only game in town, that is true, but we do have a lot of money here, so it'd be nice if we were on board so we don't have to move to Hong Kong or whatever. But that's just my view. And yeah, Brooke, I can completely relate to the driving down the car in my mom's old Buick. I'd see a hand fly through the air as I was jumping around back there doing the dodge, and then, you know, I was lucky to see it with all the smoke that was flying too. So yeah, pretty funny stuff.
Great points, great insights, and Hodler, I brought you back up since CDJ was referencing something you mentioned, so I'll let you chime in.
Yeah, one very quick thing on if the Gillibrand and Lummis bill goes through or something like it, and CFTC gets a lot of jurisdiction over many quote commodities that are crypto assets. The remember, Jess, I don't know, a month ago, maybe less, you had a space with the people that were doing they were like selling doing farming stuff on the blockchain.
Landex,
Yeah.
yeah.
And remember their number one, somebody was like, why don't you register as security? You're security. And the guy was like, because it's too fucking hard, too fucking costly, too fucking long, excuse my language. And he's right. And so part of the bill that's supposed to happen is that when someone does want to offer a new commodity that's a crypto asset, it's supposed to be a much cheaper, much more streamlined process to make it a bit easier to comply with over on the CFTC side. So it'll be interesting to see if that can come through.
All right. We got Akil in the house. Akil, what's up?
Not much.
Hey,
Okay,
Black.
we love that.
What's up, Black? Welcome. Thanks for coming up. Did you
Thanks
want to?
for.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on. Like somebody else. When you're on Twitter, sometimes that thing in the background that's like if you're unmuted, it plays the voices of the recording or the video behind you, and it kept playing the Incredible Hulk. So sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. Good morning, and thanks for stopping by. Any thoughts about the recent about our discussion?
So there were number one. I love that somebody addressed the CFTC being a good thing. If you look back since November of 2022, CZ's actually mentioned that they're gonna have to pay a hefty fine for failure to do things, and he's kind of been like, "Yeah, we knew this was coming." Like he's holding up the number 4. I don't know what it means, but it's like, well, I think he's already had an idea that this was coming down the pipeline. I mean, there's an article in November, there's one in December. He said the same thing. There was one in January where it said the United States government was torn over whether to fine Binance or not. Now that we're in what? Is it March or April? It's March still.
April tomorrow.
Yeah. And now they're like, hey, we've got to pay a fine. But at the same time, we're going to say this is a commodity. All of you suck it, because the courts have to accept it. Rather, if any fine or any plea deal they come to, it's we accept it. And it goes back, and I gave somebody a very simplistic ideology yesterday, is that the NBA, or not the NBA, the NCAA did this in the 1950s when the University of Kentucky accepted a penalty from them. So it's the same kind of mindset, is that if somebody accepts the penalty and says, okay, we'll go along with this, we'll say that you're the authority, we'll take your fine. We'll ignore anything from the SEC now moving forward until the legislators make it law. So I think that's a great opportunity for us to get clarity and enforcement by the courts. There's something else.
I was going to say, I think that's a great point. And when you mentioned the Binance thing, like I had mentioned that earlier, a lot of these things, there were articles from 2019 about the same thing. And I totally agree with you. Kraken paid $30 million to the SEC. How much do you think they're going to want from Binance? Like, they're going to want a lot. But yeah, great points, Black, and I always appreciate your insights. I know we did have a priest who's been patiently waiting. Sorry, priest. Welcome.
It's all good, Jess. I just wanted to call Flew out for being a dick. No, I'm kidding. I actually had a couple things to talk about. Brooke, I grew up breathing my mom's secondhand smoke in her Ford Tempo, so I'm about that old. So I feel that, and my dad also gave away my Atari, so he's a dick. On the VPN front,
The Ford Tempo.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh my God.
My mom and your dad should get married. She got rid of my Atari too.
Oh, you're good. That's awesome. On the VPN front, I wanted to kind of touch on the fact of the commercial real estate market is about to be completely fucked. And getting people out of VPNs by forcing them to have to go to the office is potentially a play to save trillions of dollars worth of debt that we have no idea what to do with commercially mortgage-backed securities. You guys remember 2008? Yeah, well, they did that with commercial mortgages now. They're all on ARMs, and like, not to go into too much detail, but my wife worked in commercial mortgages for a real long time. So when I heard that shit, I looked at her and I went, "Is this true?" And she kind of giggled, and then got a real scared look on her face. And my wife isn't like us, where we're like jovial and gregarious. Really, she's like more of a nerd, and I'm real fucking scared for that shit. Real talk. So I just want to kind of make sure that we kind of recognize that was a potential backlog for that VPN conversation, because at the end of the day, we all recognize that it's kind of fucking stupid. So if they're going to force something stupid down our throats, 5 levels of why. Let's try to figure that out.
Or we could like use all those big ass fucking tall buildings, Priest, like all that commercial shit, to like repurpose it into residential.
It's all commercial real estate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know it's all zoned for commercial. I see all of the issues with this, right? However, there's ways around this stuff, and like there's a lot of this stuff that we could just be like, this is affordable housing, the end, and like that would bring down anyway, whatever. There's so many issues with this because it would pop the bubble. It would pop the fucking real estate bubble and the housing bubble immediately. It would not even pop it. It would fucking incinerate it. It would destroy it. And the fact that we have like 17 times more buildings than what we actually need in order to live and operate and do business, fucking bullshit in the first place. It's all fucking greed.
He's so right, though, about the ARMs. I know I brought this up in one of the spaces. I think it was a few Fridays ago. Those ARM mortgages are like, they are like a detriment. They truly, truly are, because people just don't understand fully how they work. And even back in my banking days, those were one thing, because I actually have the ability to do mortgages as well. And I never liked those, and it just didn't sit right with me. So to have those on commercial property, oh my God, that's a nightmare. So you're right, Priest.
So it's not that they don't understand the risk. A lot of them don't give a fuck about the risk because money has been so cheap. So as a business, their job is to do the short-term best for their business, right? And like when you're working on multi-million dollars worth of loans, it's like, okay, cool. Well, they have the cash flow for this, but when interest rates change as much as they have, and your payment, reevaluates, at the end of this month. So we're looking at things coming in April, where people's payments are going from $1,700 a month to $3,700 a month from this May payment in March to what the payment's going to be in April. And like, they can try to refi, right? But they're refining the debt that they had previously now at an extremely higher rate. So the payment they're going to inherently get is going to be higher. So they're going to walk, right? Like as a business, you walk from that. So like, that is what they are actively trying to prevent against. And like, Flu is right. But if we go ahead and we give up all of this commercial real estate and become housing, what will that do to the housing market? So all of these people now that have a vested interest in their investment in their home not decreasing in value, we have now flooded the market to the point in time where those prices have to go down, right? Laws of supply and demand. So there is a vested interest at trying to force all of us back into the office because of decisions that don't actually have anything to do with what's best for any of us. And it just kind of sucks that that's kind of the case. So there's a bunch of the people with their hands up. I just wanted to kind of touch that. Sorry.
Yeah, great points, Priest. Jacob, you've been patiently waiting. Sorry about that.
I just want to say really quickly, I love you, Priest. I'm so glad we get to hang out on Spaces because I miss you. You are a legend. You've got the Midas touch. Everything you touch is gold. And on that note, I wanted to share a little bit of gold, kind of throwing it back to the Polygon zkEVM. They actually have this super cool event where if you mint a soulbound token on the Ethereum mainnet, it actually opens you up to the very first NFT collection being launched on their zkEVM. So I wanted to ask Jess if it's all right if I could pin that at the top.
Yeah, go ahead, Jacob. Feel free to. And thank you for asking, by the way. Appreciate that.
I'm always going to ask. I don't feel comfortable just pinning stuff.
Look at that. Twitter etiquette 101. Ask before you pin stuff.
By the way, side note, Jess, Jacob is the community manager for Son.
Oh, that's awesome. We love the Son community. So I'm a holder, disclaimer, but yeah, love the community. Nico, go ahead, and then CDJ, and we'll welcome Matt.
So I just wanted to touch on what Priest said earlier about the commercial loans. A lot of those are like current and like the loans are on current and future rents. So if they're better off leaving the spaces empty the way they're structured, these loans, they're better off leaving the spaces empty than renting them at a lower price, because then they default on their loans. It's some sort of a crazy structure that they do that it's just so that they can get like these degen loans, like those types of loans that Priest is talking about. They're really degen. They're horrible.
Great points. Great points. Go ahead, CDJ.
Yeah, I don't mean to switch back to the topic, but I really wanted to comment on what Akil followed up with on what I had to say about the CFTC. You know, creating a strategic partnership with a governing party is always in the best interest of the governed. And I only say that because it's going to happen, and you want to go with the lesser of two evils. So if you create that strategic partnership, and you can start developing the regulation together in a partnership, rather than waiting and sitting back and letting it happen and dealing with in a reactive nature with what they come at you with. That's a strategic business approach for any industry. So one personal event that I had that I really dealt with and I really struggled with is I had an Airbnb, and the local municipality came at me with a cease and desist with one of the largest law firms in the area, and they couldn't do anything about it because there was no law telling me I couldn't run the Airbnb. But what had happened is they created this scenario where all my neighbors were coming at me and making it very difficult to do it. And you know, had I taken the opportunity and gotten permission from my neighbors and whatnot, and worked with the city, it probably wouldn't have ended the way it did, where I lost the Airbnb and a great revenue stream. So it's always good to be proactive with what you do, and make sure that you work to get the regulation to be put in your favor. This is what a lot of large corporations do. That's why they have lobbyists that work for them. I think the approach that Coinbase is taking to be proactive is something that should have happened many years ago. And CZ is also doing that. Hopefully one day they'll get their shit together and they'll work together to create a conglomerate that will actually drive the industry.
Completely agree. Couldn't have said it any better. And we have, go ahead. Or you were going to say something else, CDJ?
No, I meant to shut up. I'm sorry, I'm driving. It's kind of...
It's okay. Stay eyes on the road. No worries. Matt, welcome. Happy Friday.
Hey, what's up, guys? I was just gonna say, I heard Priest in a couple spaces. Bro, you like are really smart, and I really like hearing you talk, like for real. So just giving you your flowers, man. Like, you know, I like people who can just break down the economics of the financial industry, because a lot of people see clickbait headlines and they just run with it. So, you know, for you to break down what actually happens behind the scenes is something I feel like a lot more people need to understand.
What are you saying about the rest of us, Matt? What are you trying to
I think the rest of you are idiots.
We're all
I
idiots, Dal.
know.
Thank you, Matt.
You're
Appreciate
the
that,
smart.
Matt.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Matt.
very
You
Thank
much.
came
you.
all the way
forget
upstairs to say
everybody
that,
else.
Matt.
I'm gonna
Appreciate
go
that, Matt.
back
As a
to eating
certified
my
idiot,
glue,
I
guys.
appreciate you all.
I'm hurt.
I got everybody
Thank you
worked
so
up.
much.
That was
Dow, do you have any
Everybody
extra glue? I just ran out.
Yeah, for real, Matt. What are your thoughts about this craziness, anti-crypto Warren? What do you think about all this nonsense?
It's so okay. So I'm just gonna give little bullet points about everything. The campaign that Elizabeth Warren is running is stupid. I don't know if she thinks that's gonna get her reelected or whatever. I don't know if she has a campaign coming up, but that's the most stupidest thing I've heard. You know, even if you're anti-crypto, like, keep it to yourself. Don't make that your whole like campaign trail. Like, you know what I'm saying? So on that basis alone, like, she's stupid. The CFTC Binance thing, I think they had enough grounds to sue him, but in this day and age, you can sue anybody for anything. But it's definitely not a frivolous lawsuit. I think they have some inside information to warrant, going after Binance industry at large. So we're gonna have to see how that plays out. The Fed now thing I was reading about, that might come out in July. It's funny how the government says, "Oh, well, crypto is this, that," and they're literally coming out with a system that does payments in real time. So that's funny. And the other thing that caught my eye this week was the dollar thing, the gradual move away from the dollar, and we're just gonna have to see like how that plays out. And the debt ceiling that I have yet to see in the mainstream news. We reached the debt ceiling in January, and they still have not proposed a solution to that, because if we don't have a solution for the debt ceiling, we're going to default and we have to repay our obligations. And if we don't, the government will not be able to issue social security checks and a lot of stuff. So yeah,
Matt,
a lot of stuff
they're
going
busy
on.
trying to ban TikTok. So
Exactly.
that stuff is
Crypto
not
Exactly.
important.
and crypto, yeah,
Exactly.
because it's crypto's fault that the banks are
Exactly.
collapsing. It's
They,
crypto's fault that the banks are
yo,
Ponzi's. I'm just gonna be blunt about it. Like,
they literally
I,
have until September of 2023 to make a move. Like right now, everything they're doing right now, they're just like they're using different programs and suspending different payments, but they have until September of this year to do something about the debt ceiling. Like it's bad if we default on the debt.
listen, there's bigger priorities like, indicting president and doing other stuff. So much bigger priorities than the possible downfall of the dollar. Jacob, go ahead.
I've got so much I want to talk about, but also I got to share some roses to everyone in here. Like Matt, bro, I know you say you love Priest, but me just meeting you, I'm dropping you a follow right now because like everything you just said, facts, much love. And then also I just want to share a little bit of love to someone in the audience, Crypto Jester Jason. Love you. But yeah, I'm gonna get kind of into this a little bit on my opinion about everything. Um, like I was saying earlier, money is access to opportunity, and what it is it's the people in power want to limit our access to opportunity. You know, whether it's physical or digital doesn't matter. The truth is, you don't reach success by hopes, dreams, and connections alone. It's you fall to the level of your systems, and if your systems are broken, you're not going to be successful. The whole idea is they want polarizing political climates to be able to have it be easy to control people. And we see that. We see the detraction from what's actually going on, which is the value of the dollar is crumbling. You have these oil countries, which the dollar is no longer backed by gold, right? There's nothing backing the dollar. There's no financial policy that's going on as far as other than just fractional banking. And we backed the dollar by oil. And so these countries are who own the oil that we use to back our dollar are now deciding, hey, we don't want to use the dollar anymore. And that's a threat to their political power, right? And so we're seeing them scapegoating by attacking crypto and the very technology that's used to empower our democracy, to empower the ideals of decentralization in which we were founded on. And I know it's not everyone's here in the US like me, but this is absolutely a problem globally that's going to be affected by many different countries. And you see other countries taking the opposite approach. Japan actually just launched their version of a stablecoin. The Japanese yen is now a stablecoin on the Shiden and A-Star network, which are both Polkadot projects. And that's super, super powerful because the Japanese government is bullish on crypto, you know what I mean? So if it's not here in America, it's going to be somewhere else.
Great points, Jacob. Great points. Go ahead, Tammy.
I was just going to say Jacob deserves his flowers as well. Y'all need to follow him.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Matt, you got something nice to say about Jacob, or is it just Priest?
I like Jacob. I follow him back. I literally just follow him back. Like I like Jacob. It's the rest of you guys I don't like.
Brooke,
No, you don't like us, Matt. You love us. Just saying.
Yes. Brooke, you were going to say something. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, just I think Jacob's the GOAT. No, that's all.
Priest and then
I appreciate the
Nico.
love.
Yeah, you guys are very kind today here.
Well,
Love it.
thank you. I wanted to touch on the thing what Jacob was saying about dividing people for a second. And like, it does make sense to divide people for a short-term gain, but it doesn't work on the long term. And like, I would challenge that the government generally takes a more long-term view, despite parties and the political sides on both being more short-term focused. So I don't know. Hopefully they balance each other out on that, but that's kind of what I wanted to say on that part, Jacob. But also, stop being nice to me, everybody. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think it's about time we stop with this all huggy and kissy and all
I
this stuff.
know. This has been
Like, what's
such a
going on?
chill space. Daniel hasn't told anybody off this week. It's been chill. Yeah.
So I just wanted to announce that Jim Cramer says Binance is sketchy and he would not do business with them.
Let's
Not
fucking
I saw that this
go.
morning
Bullish.
and I moved all of my
Bottom
businesses
signal.
to Binance.
Very
I love
bullish.
Binance.
Send it. Not financial advice. I'm based, remember.
I'm selling my my children to Binance now that Jim Cramer has deemed it official that Binance will rule the world.
Oh my
that's
God.
yeah.
But yeah, great conversation. We do got to start wrapping it up. But before again, let's get back to some good stuff that's happening. And I'll throw this over to Dow. It looks like ETH. God, sorry.
Shanghai.
Yeah, 12:30. I get hungry. I lose my train of thought. But yeah, Shanghai. When is that coming up?
April 12th. It's like early Christmas, right? You get the blessing early days. So yeah, that's exciting. And at least this time doesn't seem to be any delay. So excited for this one. And it's massive, right? Like it's just a fork, but it's actually massive for all the
Soft fork,
stakers.
though,
Are you
right?
gonna witness it? Are you
I'm
gonna
probably
be
gonna
there to
sleep
witness
through
the
it.
time?
I'm sick. You can't hear it from my voice. I can barely speak right now. But no, in all seriousness, I think for all the stakers who believed in the change for proof of work to proof of stake, I think it's massive. I'm sure they want to unstake and sell some of their earnings, but for the LSD liquid staking derivative, it's also massive because they offer a higher yield and also more flexible solution. So I think it's great all around. So looking forward to it.
And what about for from a user's perspective? What can we expect, or anything that will impact us directly?
I don't know that it will. Like, I mean, it's a fork, so there's always a chance for something to go wrong, but it's been tested on previous test nets. And so far, like, as long as they do the testing, and there's a reason why it was delayed from March to April, they found a few bugs and then they fixed them. So it should be smoothless, but if you guys want to stay awake and watch it happen, it's going to be just like the move from proof of work to proof of stake. It's a nothing burger. You can sleep through it because it's been tested so many times that by the time they release it, like there's 0.00001% of something bad happening. But from an end user, I don't think there'd be much of a difference. But I think from institutions, that's a major difference because now they can actually look at ETH and say it's something that they can actually invest into, and they know that there's actually a way to withdraw the funds if they need to. So I'm looking forward to institutions looking into ETH as a entry into the Ethereum or maybe even the crypto market. And right now, the alternative to it is BTC or GBTC. But if you look at all the issues they've been running into, it's probably not a long sustainable solution for them.
Great point. And I don't know if you know the answer to this, but something I just thought of. Do you know what the unstaking time period is? I know, like on some chains, it's like a certain number of epochs or a certain number of blocks. Like, how does that process work once we're running normal that people can stake and unstake? Do you know that by any chance?
No, that's actually a good point because I don't think everybody will be able to unstake at the same time. They'll have a limited amount of ETH that can be in stake. So as long as everybody doesn't rush for the gate, it should be fine. But yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, there's like a limit per day or something like that.
Sounds like a bank. No, I'm not gonna FUD ETH. I got too many ETH heads up here. Sorry, I take that back. Go ahead, Jacob.
I just want to bring some attention at the pin post at the top. Polygon zkEVM essentially, you just mint this soulbound token so it can't be rugged from your wallet, can't be stolen, right? And what's so cool about that is it's going to give you access to the very first NFT on the Polygon zkEVM. And with the history of airdrops, I'm not saying there is one, but with the history of airdrops, it pays to be early. It pays to be the first in the space, whether it's Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, ZK Sync, Scroll. There are hundreds of different places that are building on Ethereum layer 2s. And it's fun to be early. It's fun to play with the tech, be a part of the revolution.
Thanks for Jacob. Yeah, we had a hard time hearing you because of all the background noise, but I think we got the gist of it. But yeah.
It's the gist.
Gist. Did
say
I say
gist.
that right?
Say gist, Jess.
Did you say jeez?
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say now.
Just say Pacific Ocean.
Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, is it better now?
Oh my God, much better now.
I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, basically I just wanted to give some shout outs and give some love to layer 2s. That's pretty much what I do. I love deep diving and just doing research on blockchain technology, being the first to use a test net. Like, it's fun to be a part of history, and this is just a way for you to say, hey, I was a part of Polygon's history. I minted the very first NFT on there, and that's something that's special. I've done it for ZK Sync. I'm gonna be doing it for Polygon. There's Scroll, which is going to be launching their zkEVM sometime later this year, hopefully maybe 2024. I'm not entirely sure. But if you ever want to do deep dives, there's this tool called L2Beat. If you go to l2beat.com, it actually is a repository. I hope I'm saying the right word. I always mix up the words repository with suppository, and I get corrected a lot on spaces, and it's very embarrassing.
Is this love or you just chasing airdrops?
It's L2Beat. What it is it's a place that you can go to where it shows all the total locked value of every layer 2 built on Ethereum, and also their risk case, use case, and what they're building with, what they're building on. It's just a ton of great information for Ethereum layer 2s, and I feel like it's something that everyone should have in their tool belt.
Thanks for sharing, Jacob. Always coming with the alpha. And as we wrap it up, just maybe we should talk about NFTs for a little bit. Just a couple of things that happened this week. I did put up to the top, I think up to date, over 144 BTC has been used in inscription fees on the Bitcoin network for the Ordinals. So that's good to see. The miners are probably really happy about that. Another thing that I saw, CryptoPunk sent their punk to the burn address. I think that was like over the weekend, so we didn't talk about that last week. And I do see a couple of apes up here, well, CDJ and in the audience. I saw a really base take on the timeline and wanted to get your thoughts about it. So somebody tweeted, if BAYC fails, NFTs fail, and wanted to see what you guys think about that take. Brooke, maybe we'll go to you.
If Bored Apes fail, then NFTs fail? Is that what it is?
Yes, and it was by a pretty well-known influencer in the space, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I love the like community that they've built. Like, I was in the Clubhouse rooms when everybody changed their PFP to Bored Apes, and a lot of us were like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then it became a movement. So I don't know. I think it was the start of it all, and maybe that's the case. But having seen so many things over the last 10, 15 years, just in business and finance, like this is about humans and not math and all of that. So if people don't come together and agree on something, then it could be really bad for an ecosystem. They'll move on to something new, and if you're not really paying attention, you're going to be left in the dust. I mean, I don't know, that's kind of a speculation, but I just really believe that all of this has to do with human like social psychology. And so if a community dies, people are going to be like, well, how can we go on if they can't figure it out, you know?
I like that point. Let's go
Go
to.
ahead, Jacob, and then I'll say what I gotta
Oh
say.
wait, I was
Cause
actually going to throw it to
I just got
CDJ
triggered.
really quick since I am speaking about
Go
Bored
ahead,
Apes.
Jacob.
Oh, did you not hear me, Matt? Wait, CDJ, go ahead.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, just like what Brooke was saying, it's about the community. I mean, just because a product goes away doesn't necessarily mean that the community is dissolved. I mean, we're also seeing the ordinals, which is actually technically not an NFT. It's just an inscription on one Satoshi. So it's a new era of technology, and it's an exciting technology because not only do you have the value of one sat forever locked in space with this immutable inscription, you have the value of that art. I mean, for me, it actually is a real store of value now. So I'm very excited about that. I doubt that BAYC has that. I mean, they have the market share and they're very important to the industry. I mean, obviously, my ordinals were an expansion of that, and I love them, and I'm very excited about the listing today. But yeah, I doubt that their failure will destroy the NFT industry. And beyond that, there's a huge expansion into ordinals. I mean, there's new marketplaces, new trading, new technology being developed every single day. You know, less than a month ago, there were 2 marketplaces. Now there's like 8. So it's a fantastic opportunity. I'd be really hard pressed to agree that that would destroy the industry.
Yeah, see, Jay, you just said everything I was gonna say. Like, uh, keep in mind, Bored Apes is a brand. It's definitely that's what it is. It's not the NFTs. NFTs have matured to a point where, if Bored Ape dies or goes away, like it would suck. It would be, it would be felt, but it's not gonna destroy NFTs as an industry. I mean, when Adidas dropped Yeezy, people still buy Yeezys. I still have Yeezys. Like, it's like people still wear sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Bored Ape goes away, I mean, people will still, the NFT community will still be around. People will still be buying and selling NFTs, and it'll be a blip in history of NFTs.
Yeah, a compliment to that is there are a lot of fantastic NFT projects that are up and coming right now. Some blue chip activity with some really great utilities. I won't mention any names because I don't want to chill in your space, but keep an eye out for other great opportunities. And these are the opportunities that people like Jacob were talking about. Having the means to get in there and work these first time opportunities. That's huge. I mean, don't worry about something that fails. Just look at it as something that could bring in the new.
I just want to really, really fast respond. And I think it's just a really cool way to look at all this, how we all have different perspectives. And, I came from a different, looking at it in a whole different way, but so many people are here to, buy into things and see the financial gain and, no financial advice. Is that what we say now? I just think there's different perspectives and, I lost what I was going to say, but I just love that about especially these conversations is everybody needs to remember that we all look at this type of ecosystem or whatever we're calling this community in a slightly different way. So it's if Bored Ape fails, for some people that may mean, oh, no big deal, we're just moving on. For me, it's like the technology. Let's move on to the next big technology piece of things. So
Couldn't agree more. Jacob, you're up.
Hey, again. I kind of wanted to just bring up really quickly just the philosophy that I feel like a lot of people should have in this space. And it's that, build your value network, but not everything needs to be monetary. Build relationships, if you find a problem in this space, solve it. Be the person to solve it. There is so much value in this technology, and it's not even just Web3, right? This is just philosophies for life. You should absolutely be building your networks. You should be trying to leave things better than you left them. And yeah, I feel like this space is just the embodiment of that. And we see that, You know, even with the whole VPN situation, right? Back in the day, cryptography was illegal. It actually was illegal to have and use any form of cryptography. So in the foundation of the internet, that wasn't a thing. And the way cypherpunks would combat that is they would wear shirts with cryptographic proofs on them, and they would just flex like absolute chads and chadettes that they were. They just would do the things anyway, because at the end of the day, you know, we're about human rights, we're about innovation, we're about building communities together, and that's what this space is about. So I have no doubts in my mind that if community leaders like us, you know, who have the right idea, can steer this technology in the right direction, that will be empowered. So, I mean, Elizabeth Warren might be building her anti-crypto army, but there's always a counterculture movement. We're the cypherpunks. We're the ones building the crypto army, and we're on the right side of history.
All right, there's too much optimism. Where's Hector when we need him? Hector, where are you?
No summon. We're not
It's
summoned.
what
I can't
about
even say
Brian?
the word.
I'm
Don't
high on
summon Tim.
opium.
If you say his name 3 times,
He'll show up.
D-
What
d-
I was gonna ask something to the group, and I don't know the answer, but was there ever like a politician in the past that was running like an anti-internet campaign when the internet was coming out or something like that?
Actually, there was a ton of businesses that were doing that. And I can't remember his name. He's a super rich. I'm gonna find it. It's a quote, and I have it written down.
You're not talking about Ross Perot, are you?
I might be. But there's a few people. There was this one quote saying that the internet is a fad and it won't be bigger than the fax machine. And that's when we
Yeah.
see technology, you know, even cryptography. Oh, cryptography is a military technology. No, just because something is used for a military application doesn't mean it's inherently a technology that can only be used for war.
it's literal math.
There have been
So yes,
plenty of politicians that ran against credit unions being illegal. That's a huge thing. And if you think about the current time with the banking crisis, that's a really big deal. I mean, that's something that's very significant.
so
You said my trigger word. I'm just saying. I don't know if Johnny's in here, but you said credit union. That's all I'm going to say.
So there were quite a few politicians in the 90s, and actually one of those politicians is still in office, and he's actually backing a crypto-backed bill. The good senator from Iowa, Chuck Grassley.
He's old, yeah.
Chuck Grassley is like 1 million years old. That's crazy.
Yeah.
See,
Chuck Grassley.
not all of them are old and senile.
You know who's super funny? Like
no, but
speaking of
Chuck
age.
is old.
Wait, let him finish.
So Chuck is actually old and senile. He has no idea to the bill he signed on to. That's the funny part. And so when people were asking about it, he couldn't come up with a reason why. And then that just shows like, hey, it's even worse now, because in the 90s, he was talking about how the internet was going to destroy local companies and businesses weren't going to be able to make money, and that it was just going to suffocate them. And now he signed on to some crypto bill, and he can't actually say why. You know, the shit you say in the past will come back to bite you in the ass. And for guys that's like 98 years old, it's going to come back and bite them in the ass, because everyone's going to be like, well, why'd you sign on? Do you even know what this is? You know, so another reason why I say politicians, doesn't matter their party, they're all fucking stupid.
Speaking of elderly people getting into crypto, what's up with William Shatner pumping crypto?
Wait, let's just clarify. We do not discriminate against elderly people.
Ageism. Yeah, we don't tolerate
No discrimination, just a surprise of their involvement in it.
Wait, he's been around for a minute, right? That the Star Trek guy, right?
Yeah.
He was on with Ethereum like back in 2018 or 19.
Right.
So he's been around.
He's all on board, and it's wonderful to see.
Star Trek coin.
Even if he doesn't know what the hell it is.
And he's so rude. I'm sorry, I'm going to say this in public. Like, a friend of mine went up to him at the conference in LA and he said, "Oh, I don't want to bother too much." And he said, "Well, then don't," and walked away.
Oh my God.
Yep.
The ratio.
He just reached the age in his life where he doesn't care what people think.
That's what I thought too. I was like, well, whatever.
Those old people
I'm getting there. I'm in there.
Oh,
All
get
right,
out of my face, you motherfucker.
we got Crypto Rick who's
And we're
had
like
his hand
small, 4 feet tall.
up patiently, and then we got to start wrapping it up. What's up, Crypto Rick?
Hello, beautiful people. I unfortunately I'm going to come in with some more hopium. The politicians, when we hear politicians, we hear about Senator Warren, and all the bad news is louder and it gets more traction than the good news. But I just want to say there's also a lot of smart politicians that are bullish, that are Bitcoin savvy. They love it. They want it. Yesterday, Representative Tom Emmer was on an interview on Bankless just talking about how crypto is amazing and it's exactly what we need to have to fight the craziness that's going on. In the comments, I left just a Twitter thread. I mean, some senators and congressmen that are actually on our side. So do know that they are there. They are working. And it's actually on top. It's a top priority. I think after the Easter break, I think we're going to see some actually positive momentum. I listened to way too many of the hearings and get into the politics, but I just did want to say that everybody's like, the governments, those old fogies, they're all about taking crypto away. But there's tons of good ones that are working for us, and eventually, don't get it right, they're way behind, of course, when it comes to the rest of the world. But I'm bullish on supporting the people that actually know what they're talking about and voting the ones out that don't.
So Rick, there's the mayor of Miami, Francis Suarez. He's definitely, and this is South. I live in South Florida. He's totally on board with crypto, right? He pops up at all the. He's there personally at the conferences right now. NFT Miami is going on. He's there, like on the ground. You know, he encourages different businesses to, incorporate crypto into their business. He's trying to make, he rolled out the Miami coin, even though I don't know how far that he got with that. But
It's a rug.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Matt, I was gonna.
but at
but it
least he's
runs.
somebody in a political position to incorporate crypto somehow, some way.
Yeah, I mean,
and if you go to Wynwood, it's all like crypto and digital payments and all that stuff.
Yeah, very recently they.
Hey Matt,
they
just to let folks know though,
a new subcommittee on this.
That didn't just rug. That he's actually being sued, Matt. Like he's actually being sued now for the Miami coin.
By who?
So
By
just
who?
FYI. I can't remember, but there was like a class action lawsuit that was being put forth. So he's named in it for the Miami coin. I have to go find it, but it is like go pull it up.
Dude, there's a subcommittee on digital currency now. What the president came out, his executive order was a whole bunch of bull crap, and Tom Emmer went over that. But there's a subcommittee. There are people that are working for us. We need to support them. We need to retweet them. We need to help them rather than just go attack the people that are, bought and paid for by the Fed. Because, Elizabeth Warren's in bed with the Fed. I mean, it's obvious. And because she probably wants to run for president. And the playbook is CBDC. And so she has to play that because that's in the playbook or whatever. But I just wanted to say, man, there's a little bit of light in this dark room of crypto. And it's going to take a while. But just stay positive and work with the people that actually are doing good and actually know what the heck they're talking about when it comes to the trash that is the CBDC and the gold that is Bitcoin.
But Fed now is already here, so the CBDC is already being implemented. You just aren't watching, I guess. Is anybody watching? Because Fed now is here.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to come out in 2 months, and it's absolute junk. So yeah, a lot
Isn't it coming out in July?
In all seriousness, like it's already here. Like Fed now is already here, so it's like you can try to rally against it, but if it's already being implemented, they've kind of made their decision.
No, it can be removed just as easy as it was brought here. It's called the will of the people, and
I see DJ. There's a lot of people that will claim they're working for good, but they're also bought and paid for by somebody. After 15 years in DC, I say it with utmost love and respect. They're all fucking evil. They all have their corruption. I know half their staff are fucking. They're cussing each other out on television, but in the back room, they've already made the deal. So
I think that's a great point, right?
we're
Because if you
getting a
look
lot of
at
public employment.
the actual project, I think the central bank is saying 70% of the central banks around the world are looking to create their own CBDCs within the next 10 years. But if you look, there was a paper actually on that by Swift, right? If you look at the details, they're working with technologists and commercial banks. So the likely route that they will go first is to provide a coin for interbank exchanges, but not necessarily right away from retailers, right? So I get your point, Akil, but I think the pushback is to say the coins are already out there, right? In Nigeria, in the Bahamas, and maybe I think like another country, right? There's not a lot of adoption. So let's incentivize users like through easier payment. Like to your point, FedNow would be great, right? But you still need to get the buy-in from the people. And the people that are aware, and hopefully they will be because people are allowed in crypto, there might be a pushback against it. But on that note, I don't know who made it happen, but Hector's here. So
You
you want to
guys,
jump on
And I'll
stage?
say, oh, I just wanted to say to Dow, with what Dow was saying and what you all are talking about now, you guys really, I know we've said this before, need to look at what's happening with the banking system right now. And I'm sorry, I do believe that there is correlation to it and there is relation to it with the CBDCs trying to push you to the bigger banks and everything that's going on now.
all right. And we are getting close to the top of the hour where my stomach starts grumbling for food and I gotta go. But Hector is up here. So since this has been a space full of hopium, we would like to get a different perspective. So welcome,
Bring the
Hector.
smoke.
Bring us all
The
down.
smoke.
Send us away sad, Hector.
Rain on the parade.
What's up, my crypto lovers and safe moon hodlers? How we doing?
No safe moon here.
Save
Oh,
moon
sorry.
to the
Wrong
fucking
room.
moon.
So is it the end of the world? Just verify that for us.
I tried opening an account at JP Morgan just barely, and it was convoluted. So yeah, you might have a case for crypto. I'm just kidding, but yeah. So I heard that Bitcoin has been selling off by the U.S. government. That's bullish because any event regarding Bitcoin is bullish, no matter what it is, even though a U.S. entity is selling it. I think CZ, that whole thing is still an issue, big issue. Kind of interesting to see that his own entities were selling against each other. And for the most part, yeah.
How much of an issue do you think that is? Do you think that that's actually like a question for Binance, or is just like a matter of fine that he has to pay?
I don't know, like the extent of how like criminal it is, especially since he's outside the jurisdiction of the U.S. in the sense that physically he's not here. But I think it is an issue, like in the sense that Binance US might not be able to exist or work in the United States. And just to see that like this doesn't just happen with Binance, like Coinbase was a big part of this. Like the SEC found that Charlie Lee was 99% of the trading volume of Litecoin for a period in the beginning. So that this wash trading and this stuff happening between the known parties, like this is what it is. Like we saw it with Alameda and FTX trading coins they don't have and giving them to parties who own basically the entire order book. Like who are you trading? Like there's no actual volume here. Like when Binance just went down the other day, you saw that with BTC the volume dried up to nothing. And so what's happening? Like is there organic demand, or is this just being perpetuated and built up by a few players that you just get to jump in and join the roller coaster and hopefully they spit you out positively?
Sounds like some of these crypto bros have learned some bad tactics from big banks. Just saying.
Do we know where
I don't
did
know
all
if
this
that's the
Bitcoin
case.
come from that they're selling off? Is it confiscated Bitcoin from various? Oh, Silk Road. Never
Yeah,
mind. Never mind.
it's Silk Road. It's confiscated from Silk Road. So this idea that your money's not confiscatable, in the word of Tony Vase, he always says it's unconfiscatable. They can easily just put you into a room and say if you don't leave this room until you give us the keys to XYZ number of Bitcoin. So that exists, and also the possibility of it actually being taken from you through a minor cooperation can also exist. So there is no alternative in that sense. Your money is not your money. It's only your money if you're within the law.
Cool. You know what? I was expecting something way more doomsday. So I don't know what's in the air. I do know there was like some
Alignment.
planets
Yeah.
lined up. Yeah. So maybe that's what's going on because this is just a weird space, but it's good. Good vibes. Everybody's chilling out. Daniel decided not to come up, so maybe that's another reason why. I have no idea, but I do got to wrap it up. So I do want to thank everybody for coming up and contributing to the conversation. It's been great. I'll throw it over to Dal. Dal, what you got going on this week?
Yeah, hopefully. I'm sure it's going to be another exciting week in crypto. I'll be back with Farmers Market this Wednesday to talk about Landex. We had them on Crypto and Coffee. They're my co-hosts on Farmers Market, and they bring in commodities on chain. So I'm happy to give them the space to really break down their roadmap and what they're coming for. So, and my voice will be better. I'll be able to think better as well. So I'll be back to 100% hopefully. But that was a great conversation. Love to hear from the Granary team. I think lending is still looking for product market fit, like a great incentive for both lenders and borrowers, and they might be onto something. So I'm looking at their ecosystem, and I think it's very exciting to hear from these guys. So great space.
And yes, we do hope you feel better, and looking forward to your space next week. Always a good time. And Tammy, what's going on?
Hey, I just wanted to thank everybody for coming by like I always do. Everybody that contributed, you guys, I learned something. Well, I say this every week. I learn something new each time. And if you didn't get the opportunity, do go back and listen to the grain presentation. It's very interesting, and I like what they're adding to that, talking about, featuring savings, to teach the kids through gaming about saving rather than spending, and some of the other features that they've got going on. And I like the process of them slow rolling it out, because so many of these projects can be hurried and rushed, and it's just nice to hear that they're taking their time with it. But I want to thank Jess and everybody that came out to contribute. I do have some in real life things going on this coming week, so getting new products out to our dealers, which is fun. So, and I look forward to seeing everything that's going on in the crypto industry and all the dramas and the good things that we hear too. So thanks everybody. We appreciate you coming by every week.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I just found out that there's Miami NFT week, so I'm going to see if I try to go to something since boyfriend is out of town this weekend. But besides that, yeah, we'll be back on Friday. Off the top of my head, I don't know who's going to be here, so I apologize for that. But thanks again, everybody, for coming. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you to the speakers and the listeners. If you guys want to check out, you could claim the POAP on link 3, Cyber Connect. I did have a great space with them on Wednesday. If you want to go back and listen to that, they're a social graph protocol. Yeah. But yeah, with that said, I already started eating because I'm starving. So everybody have a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jess. Bye.
Bye.
Later, guys.